क्या वनशन भाई साहब मैं दी again. So I just finished watching El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie starring Aaron Paul, which takes place in the Breaking Bad universe after the events of Breaking Bad Season 5, the last episode. Now, I was very excited about this movie. I watched it the minute it came out. Honestly, it ticks all the good boxes for me. This movie I didn't set any sort of expectations or hype surrounding this because Vince Gilligan works in very mysterious ways. Like, not everything turns out to be what he said. Like all the cliches that you've seen in other movies and TV series is like they don't play when it comes to Vince Gilligan. He is a visionary. And I didn't set any sort of expectations when watching this movie, but this movie, man, it's a masterpiece, okay? It's a masterpiece, and I have a lot to say about it. So this is going to be a spoilers discussion because I just wanted to talk about the details in this movie instead of just doing a half-ass review. I mean, doing a review of it and like just giving you a rating, I don't think that's going to be good enough because there's a lot to dissect in this movie, and I just want to, do it with you guys. So this movie immediately starts off after the shootout at the gang hideout, and Jesse escapes in his El Camino. Here's Jesse's running from the police in the car, and he goes to his pal Skinny Pete's house. He goes to Skinny Pete and Badger and then looks for help. And basically this entire story is kind of Jesse escaping that camp and then finding a way to get the hell out of Dodge. I mean, it's playing on some emotional beats too. Like the first scene is not in the El Camino. The first scene is a flashback with Mike, where he's just talking about what he's going to do with all the money that he's making, a young retiree. Where's Jesse going to go? Mike says Alaska. Mike basically tells him to go to Alaska and start over because he can basically move away from all the bad things he did and then start a new life. Throughout the movie, since Jesse is making a break for it, it's kind of revealed that Jesse is trying to get to Alaska. Before he lost his chance, but now since he's free, he wants to really get the hell out of this place because the cops are after him as he's a primary suspect in the Walter White Heisenberg case. Basically after that, Skinny Pete and Badger, they help Jesse out. They give him some new clothes, gives him a shower, and they switch cars so Jesse can't be tracked. And then Skinny Pete keeps the El Camino because there's a tracker on it that just got activated, and Skinny Pete wants to take the fall for Jesse. He wants to take the fall for Jesse, and he basically gives him Badger's car. There's a cool scene where Jesse is driving away in his car, and there's a whole brigade of police just heading from the direction he just came from, and it's kind of crazy and unnerving. The police are right beside him, and now they're just an inch away. I like things about this, in this movie. I like scenes like this. It's that you could have shown, Skinny Pete in the car and then, bunch of police swarm around him and point guns at him, every single cliche Fall Guy scene in every single movie. But he doesn't do that. This movie, it shows you from Jesse's point of view that these police are supposed to be there for him, he's such a big wanted criminal. We also have this whole flashback segment that kind of plays towards the first half of the movie about Todd and Jesse being alone over the weekend, and Todd has some chores for Jesse to complete. And one problem I had in this movie that was kind of breaking my immersion is Todd's actor did not get fit for this movie. I mean, Breaking Bad was 6 years ago, and he was young back then, but now he's kind of gained a little bit of weight, and he didn't specifically, get fit for this role. He didn't want to completely be in character. Now there are some I've read on Saul posting that maybe he gained weight, he earned a lot of money and then he ate out a little bit. So maybe he just lost it before they met Heisenberg again. Because he wants to get fit to impress Quayle. Or some shit like that. Whatever. So Todd, Jesse goes out with Todd. And he goes to his house to help him out with something, and it's about putting a trunk cover on his El Camino, and he thinks that's it. But in actuality, they are getting rid of a dead housemaid because Todd killed him because she saw his money, which he kind of stupidly hid too, by the way. Todd, as a character, is so cunning and yet so stupid sometimes. And it kind of shows, too. There are some things he says, I mean, in that same scene, okay, there's a belt around the housemate, its neck. That means like she was strangled with the belt. And Todd, before like rolling her up in a mat to get rid of her, he's like, "Nah, I'm gonna need this." And he takes the belt off the woman's neck and then he puts it on. And it's so, oh man, it's just Todd is, man, he's such a dick, honestly, and he doesn't even like know it. He's such a slime ball. Ugh. Later on, we do get back to Jesse, and now I see Jesse is looking for some cash because if he needs to go to Alaska, he's gonna need some money, and so he goes to Todd's apartment to find the money, and from that memory, he tries to remember where the money is hidden. And there's a whole scene, there's like a whole segment where he's looking for money in Todd's house. And there's also a flashback scene at the desert where they bury the maid. And there's like a pizza scene. There's a scene where Jesse has a gun, but Todd is insisting that they're gonna get pizza and beer. And it's like that scene almost broke me. Like that was hard. Like knowing that people like that even exist. And oh man. So Jesse is looking for the money. He looked for it all night. He couldn't find it. But then at last he found it. And he found the money hidden inside a fridge door. And when he's about to like grab the money, 2 policemen come in to investigate the scene. Jesse gets seen by one of the police officers, and then he points his gun at him and then steals his gun and tells the other guy to come in, and then they have the showdown together. But they threaten him, saying that there's police outside, you won't get far, you won't be able to shoot, because then you're going to be compromised and they're going to get you. Jesse is scared, so Jesse is forced to turn himself in. But it turns out those are not actually policemen, because they don't have handcuffs and they tie him up with a wire. And then Jesse figures out that these are actually not cops, but in order to, get free, he tells them that he knows where the money is if they let him go. And basically, he shows them the money. And in an ironic twist of events, he starts taking the money and the guy's like pointing a gun at him and saying, "I'm gonna shoot you if you take the money." And he's like, "If you're gonna shoot, then this entire block will know that there's something wrong here and the police will come after you guys." And it worked. And he grabbed the money and he just waltzed off. He got 1/3 of the money. The guy didn't let him take all of it. And I still don't understand why they didn't just knock him out after they got the money. Like, why did they let him walk away like that? I mean, there are some inconsistencies in this too. I mean, they could have clearly, since they had the upper hand, they could have knocked him out like every single other movie cliche, but they didn't. Which is kind of interesting. Since now so now Jesse has the money, and then he starts looking for the vacuum cleaner store. The store which supposedly, if you order a special type of vacuum cleaner, the owner of the shop will basically give you a new identity and give you somewhere else to go. It's basically where fugitives go to save their asses. So Jesse, like Walter White and Saul Goodman, he goes to he finds the red Toyota that he saw before, and then he goes in. Then he goes in the vacuum shop and he talks to the owner, and the owner's like, "I'm not gonna do this for you because you skipped the first time." And then he's like, "I got money." And he gives him $125,000. But because he skipped the first time, he says he's owed that money and he has to pay him double if he wants to, get out. And Jesse attempts to pay double, but after scrounging up all his money, he's $1,800 short. And he will not let Jesse pass if he doesn't pay that small amount. So now Jesse has to... And there's also this comedic moment where he doesn't want to leave the shop and the owner calls the cops. But then Jesse's like, you didn't call the cops. You want to know why? Because you're running a racket here and you have way more to lose than I am. And then you cut the call. The 911 calls back and he's acting all smart and shit. Like he knows that he's messing with him. But then the cops actually show up and then he runs for it. Yeah, man, that scene genuinely made me laugh. So Jesse has to find some way to get that $1,800. And this is where I kind of, get confused a little bit. is that Jesse gets his parents to get out of their own house so he can sneak in, and it works. And I'm like, okay, he's going to steal some money from here. That's what I expected, that, you know, their parents are rich, they probably have money, they probably have $1,800 worth of stuff just lying around. That's what I thought. But apparently no. What he does is he goes upstairs and then he opens a gun compartment and then grabs two guns. One, like a short-barreled revolver and a .22. I mean, he grabs the guns, but he grabs nothing else. And then the next scene, I thought that he was gonna steal something and shit. Like, he's gonna steal something and go for it. But no, he apparently goes to the welding shop from the guy, the cop he met earlier, who is also, he's also one of the guy who built the meth lab chain hook thingy to stop him from escaping. And basically he goes in and they're having this party and shit, and he's going to grab some more money from them. So he just strolls in there like a badass with his .22 hanging out of his belt, and the guy's like, yo, what do you got there? And then he shows the gun, and he's like, you got a .22, I got a .45 1911. And they have a showdown. They have a dual showdown like in the Western movies, which kind of solidifies the fact that Breaking Bad is a Western. So they both get ready. They are hovering their hands over their holsters and they're about to shoot. And when the guy's about to pull out his gun, suddenly he gets peppered with bullets. What's that? Well, in his jacket pocket, he had the small revolver hidden in it, and he just used that to shoot the guy. And then the other cop guy, he grabs his gun, but he's terrible aim, so Jesse just shoots him. Then he takes the money, acts like a complete badass. He blows up the welding shop, which was really awesome too. And then the emotional beats start. We get another flashback, and Jesse's in a hotel room, and then he knocks on this door, and Walter White comes out. And then we see the old RV. We see them like eating at a diner, discussing about life and how much meth they're gonna have to sell, and they have their old style funny banter, and it brings back memories. Honestly, it's awesome. And then we see, you know, he's getting dropped off to Alaska, and then he sends a letter to Brock, and the movie ends with basically what could have been. We see Jane. We see an old flashback with Jane. I mean, Jesse's like, you know, it's cool that you go where the universe takes you. And she's like, you know, I've went my whole life going where the universe takes me. And now I'm going to choose for myself. It's better to choose for yourself, Jesse. And that's basically where the movie ends, with Jesse driving off into the snowy mountains. Yeah, it gets really emotional at the end. And honestly, from the overall experience, I mean, I just finished watching it. The movie is shot beautifully. There's like long takes and very wide shots. It doesn't have the old like TV series looking film grainy filters that were in the Breaking Bad TV show. This feels more like a movie. Like, it's shot grand. Like, the camera quality, it's crisp, it looks realistic. And it looks gritty, which is something that I really like because the story is gritty. Jesse Pinkman was locked in a cage in a hole in the ground for 6 months straight, and he was tortured, he was beaten, he was forced to cook meth, and he was forced to do heinous things. And he got his girlfriend killed and a small child orphaned. So this story, and basically him running from the law to a new life, I mean, he gets the happy ending he deserves. And yes, Walter White is dead. Walter White is dead. But he gets the ending he deserves. He deserves some peace. And I think we will see him again, maybe in Better Call Saul. Or what if we don't see him again? I don't care, but I'm happy that this is kind of the end of the arc of Jesse Pinkman. It's kind of surprising that a character who was supposed to be killed in the first season is the last guy to survive in the end. Like, if you don't count Saul Goodman, that is. And Walter White is dead, fellas. So this movie made me very happy. I felt like it was a very pleasing experience. It was really tasteful for the eyes, but then again, there are some like plot inconsistencies. Like, why didn't he steal from his parents' house and why he didn't knock the policeman out, or why did the policeman, didn't knock him out. That could have been a little bit more interesting. But those inconsistencies, and also like Fat Todd, who was kind of sore for the eyes, actually. But like for that, I'm not gonna give it an A plus. I'm just gonna give it an A. It's a 9.5 out of 10 for me. And I'd suggest, if you're a Breaking Bad fan, if you haven't watched Breaking Bad yet, why did you watch this? Because it was a spoilers discussion. So like, if you love Breaking Bad and all things Breaking Bad, and if you were as hyped as me to watch this movie, watch it. You will not be disappointed. It does not ruin the perfect Breaking Bad saga. It's kind of like 3 great episodes of Breaking Bad in one. So that's kind of what I had to say about this movie. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!